What did that do to you?
I became a shell of myself. I didn't know who I was. I actually have a couple posts on my page where I have a post that says, I knew her body better than I knew my own.
Stop. Let that sit there. You said you knew another woman's body better than you knew your own.
Yes, several women. I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own. I spent a lot of time, like I went in such a deep hole where I was like studying these women. I would go to their profiles and I would study their pages and like what they wear. I watched their videos of them having sex. So I would try to imitate that and recreate that in our relationships so that he could choose me and want me.
Hey y'all, what is up? I hope you're taking care of yourself. And today I wanted to come at y'all with an auntie, sister, cousin chat or an Ask Dr. Nina. And I almost didn't do this video because I'm probably the last person in the world to talk about this Derrick Jaxn and Danae Jackson situation. If you're not aware of them, I don't want to rehash the whole story, but just know he is the worst guru of all dating gurus who basically told his whole game. By the way, we ended up finding out that he was a cheater, not only on his wife, but before she was his wife. And he was the very epitome of the F-boy that he discussed in a lot of his material and content. So that's just to put it plainly. If you want to learn more about him in this situation, I've linked the Dear Future Wifey podcast, part 1 and part 2. Danae Jackson, his estranged wife now, did a wonderful job of breaking down how wonderful of a horrible man he was and is. So with that said, today I wanted to talk about the things that we can learn from their situation. And if you are up to date on that situation, you know that last year I did a video about them because I just thought it was a big learning lesson and a lot we could gain from it. And I actually titled my video, The Reasons Why People Shouldn't Get Married. And sure enough, a lot of the things that Danae discussed in her side of the story supported a lot of my thoughts and conclusions without knowing their whole story. They got married, it seems like under duress, with pressure, only to, you know, for her fulfill a title, but for him to save face in his business of duping people in dating advice. So with that said, a lot of it made sense. I wanted to come at it from talking about her from a non-judgmental place at that time, because I realized how much trauma can affect our behavior. You know, a lot of people were talking about her bonnet of salvation and of truth and whatever. But first off, my side was that I grew up in the Church of God in Christ. And for me, it was normal for people to talk from the scripture. That's how I grew up, you know, and y'all know I'm more spiritual now and less religious. However, I will say I remember that, I understand that. So for me, it wasn't so odd, but I did feel like it was a guise for a lot of the trauma that she was experiencing and not being able to really express her full story. And this was the way we were introduced to the young lady, right? We were introduced to her looking a certain way, and which let's say right now, honey is polished, baby. She looked like I imagined she would have looked before he got a hold of her. So thank God, and thanks to Lateris for making sure she looked good for that podcast. But I want to say that I felt a lot of her spirit, what we truly wanted to see from her in the beginning, which we couldn't because of the trauma, because of the depression, because of the issues. I just feel like a lot was going on. So today I want to discuss some of the things that we can learn at this point from her story, and some of the things that, you know, I want to discuss with y'all. Let me know down below some of the things you took from their story, from the interview, from this walk, and from hearing about this story. And again, update yourself by checking out the links down below. Let's get into this video. Y'all, let me start by saying that Danae is a very big breath of fresh air. The girl was comedic. Her timing was excellent and impeccable. I felt like she was very well spoken, very funny in an adorable way. And not only that, I felt like her essence of who she truly is came through in her eloquence and the way she presents herself. So kudos, kudos to her, because this video for me made her very likable. Or these interviews made her very likable and humanized her. Let me also say this. Number one, I think we need to stop being so quick to say it couldn't be me. I've seen a lot of those comments, and I'm still seeing a lot of those comments. And let me tell you, if you didn't learn anything else from her, you learned that the course of our lives, and I know this because of what I do, the course of our lives can definitely determine the treatment we are willing to go through, the things we will have to learn to endure in life, and also the way that we navigate. It's not so easy to say that, you know, I would never let anybody cheat on me. I would never let nobody hurt me. I would never let anyone abuse me. Of course, we don't set out in life to do that. There are certain things that occur that lead up to that. So starting from her story, you know, the lack, I didn't hear her speak a lot about her mother. So let's say that first, but also the estranged relationship with her mother and her father being remarried, her feeling like her father didn't have a closeness or connection with her, but he did with his sons. We know how that go. You know, also her feeling like she had to be a tomboy in order to get his attention, him passing away when she was like 12 years old. I mean, all of those things lead to possibly feeling already abandoned, already feeling like you're not worthy, already feeling like you don't have a sense of yourself, because I didn't hear her say those same things about her mother, but the lack of mentioning her mother lets me know that I don't know that she was getting a lot of attention from anywhere. She always often felt invisible. So then enters the picture in college at Tuskegee, because baby, I know a bunch of people that went to school with them, but we gonna talk about that another day. Them going to school and her feeling very invisible and seen by somebody who, according to the world, I don't know about y'all, but according to the world, was attractive and seen, made her feel seen. Okay, so he made her feel like, you know, or gave her even the temporary feelings of worthiness. And let's not even get into the fact that she was raped earlier or right before meeting him by someone else that she felt that she trusted. Okay, so she was harmed, abused, and then met this man who made her feel seen. And as a person who works with people who are you know, that have mental difficulties, who I diagnose, who I work with and do different things with, let me start saying this too, something else y'all need to learn. We throw a lot of terms around that maybe we don't understand the depths of, because I hear a lot of people calling Derrick Jaxn a narcissist and all of this. And here's the thing. I do believe there are lots of narcissistic characteristics. I ain't diagnosing the man, I ain't worked with him, and he ain't paying me. But what I will say is we have to be careful about throwing those terms around, because some people are just plain evil. Let that sink in. Some people are very calculated, very motivated to commit things that they know will be harmful to other people, and could care less about how they affect them as long as they get what they want. And I know it's very hard for us to imagine that there are people out there, especially those that would date us, knowing that they are those types of people. But let me tell you right now, they exist. And there's not necessarily a diagnosis to fit them. So while I will say, go ahead and narcissist him away, but that don't excuse none of his behavior for me, because I feel like he was cold calculated. And truly a person who just was about himself. And we don't want to always admit that there are people out there that exist like that. So let's learn that, sisters, aunties, cousin. I don't care how old you are. Learn that there are people out there that are just out there to do wrong. And I felt like that's a big part of what happened here. He saw a lick. He saw it. He saw a sucker. And he licked it. And I'm not calling her a sucker. I'm saying she even stated that she came in a fragile state and was willing to take a lot from someone who made her feel important. From the beginning, he used her. From the beginning, he used her as a pawn. He used her to complete his homework, because I don't know if y'all caught them teas, but she definitely said she was tutoring him, which I can imagine means writing papers, doing homework, helping with tests, everything. So from the beginning, he used her. Anytime you're getting into a relationship with people, let me tell you this, there should be a mutual respect. I have always told y'all that every relationship comes with wanting to receive and also to give. It seems like from the beginning of this relationship, there was no reciprocity at all. There was more of the feeling of give it to me and I'll let you be around me. Y'all catch that? Okay. So I feel like Derrick from the beginning knew he was the big catch, and allowing her to even breathe his air gave her a perk. So she got nothing in return other than breathing his air, literally. So let's move even further into this. You know, she also mentioned that from that time on, she was in a situationship with him. Y'all, it was 9 years before they got married. 9 years, which another lesson. Don't ever let nobody waste your time. Now, granted, they were young, so let's keep that in mind too. If I heard them correctly, 19 years old when they met. He took advantage of a young person who he was like 5 months older than, but I feel like a lot more calculated than and a lot more experienced, and took advantage of that. So yeah, 9 years at that age seems, you know, very little, but even then I have to question 9 years, and the 9 years that they spent what they did. It was not a 9 years of a committed relationship to just each other. Danae even admitted to being a part of a lineup. And this would be hypocritical of me to say that I've not supported you in having, you know, your rotations while you're dating, but that's not what they were doing. He convinced her that they were in a relationship. And at one point, though, she started to accept that as a part of this relationship or situationship, he could sleep with whoever or whomever he wanted to, while she remained committed to him. So the commitment was only on one end. So there's another lesson for y'all. You do not commit to nothing that ain't committed to you. You don't give to anything that's not giving to you. I will stand on that 10 toes down. I don't care who they are. It could be the President Barack Obama or the ex-president. It could be anybody. You don't give to any relationship that is not giving to you. That's in a friendship. That's in a familial relationship. That's in a romantic relationship. That's at your job. Because here's the thing, if they stop giving you a check, there's no reciprocity, right? My work comes with a price. My price comes with the work, okay? Both ways are expecting to get what they get. And if you're not getting that, you move on. But let me show you how this lines up. If you're already coming feeling abandoned, feeling abused, feeling down, feeling depressed, feeling like you're not seen, that sets up for someone to be able to take advantage of you. And Derrick Jaxn knew that. Just like he knows that with the people he's slanging these bad, well, I won't even say it's bad advice, but this advice to, okay? He knows that there are people out there that will take him just because they like to be associated with him. He knows that there will always be a lineup of women because women are always going to support him. Some of us, because I just never saw it for him, but y'all, I don't know. I don't know what the draw is. I don't know what the love is. I guess a big, tall chocolate man who had muscles, but nonetheless, he got Danae for years. And I want to also say this, she gave a lot to him, because not only did she give her time, her patience, her energy, and participated in a rotation of women who were sleeping with him at different times. During the time they were together, she would actually see them. She also gave her body, and in the form of 3 children. Okay, so she not only had his first child, so they weren't married then. I think it wasn't until their second child that they were getting married. So, and he didn't feel pressure to do that until, you know, the family was involved. You know, I'm sure people were in his ear telling him what was right and how he should do her right and be by her and all of that, which another lesson, y'all. If other people have to convince someone that you're great, if other people have to convince someone that they should do the right thing by being with you, it ain't gonna last. Just go ahead and go. Please go. Please go, because they don't see the value in there and in you without somebody else defining it. And even then, they don't see it. They just might feel guilty enough to give in to something that you want in order to not lose the gravy train of benefits that you come with. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I'm saying it as a married woman. Don't do it. Okay? To continue on down this path, because I feel like this is getting long. To continue on down this path, we also see that Derrick not only used her body, used her mind, used her time, but also used her as information and theory for what he was teaching to the internet. Every situation Danae mentioned, in the way that he harmed her is everything he was preaching to y'all. And I say y'all because I told you that Facebook timeline, I was like, I don't like that man in his car like that. I don't like it. It seems fishy. I'm from St. Louis. I'm from the show me state, baby. You show me some things, I'm gonna walk away if it look real. You shankly. I don't like it. I'm not gonna do it. So I say that because he used himself. He used her to make all that money. And not only that, and I'm gonna go back to the money thing, it always was about him coldly calculating how he could come up, but never how she could. Okay? There's no way in the heck, if he loved that woman, he would have ever let her come on the camera being broken during the time that she did to talk about his infidelities. She would have looked like the best Real Housewife, like she said, a Real Housewife of Atlanta. As ever, at least if you cared about her image. All he cared about was his image. Okay, y'all gotta watch out for people like that. So furthermore, I also state that because not only am I just talking to you as a person that has seen this in practice, I've been through it. Okay, y'all know I'm kind of mum's the word with a lot of my information. I'm a storyteller and I will give you some of my past. And I've told this story before, but I was cheated on by somebody who did the most. Now, granted, he didn't have a whole internet full of people following him at the time. But I tell you, when he cheated on me, it was one of my lowest of my lows. I didn't stick around as long, and clearly I didn't marry or get pregnant by him. But that was the only difference, right? Because this person was heinous. They were doing things and harmed me. And in fact, it was a time where I left YouTube for quite a long time because I couldn't feel good about sharing these joyous lessons that I love to talk about when I was steady taking it from somebody who was not willing to commit to me in the ways that I was attempting to commit to them. And when I learned that it was just not the right path, and that I was responsible for the behaviors of engaging with this person. And let's also go back to another lesson with Danae. I loved her accountability. Now, internet thugs, that's how you take accountability. She never once had to talk negatively of Derrick because he provided enough negative content for us for our whole lifetime. You know, all she had to do was tell the facts. Okay, that's also how you mention facts over feelings. Learn from Danae. But also, I feel like a lot of her accountability was rested in the fact that she's gone through the therapy. She's gone through de-traumatizing herself. She's gone through learning from her issues and being able to call it out for what it is. The fact that she has subjected herself and her children to that life because she still wanted to reap the benefits of being the wife of Derrick Jaxn. And in the end, he ended up divorcing her anyway. Okay, so I just want y'all to take in a lot of these notes, that it's not just about the tea, right? It's not just about the tea, but it's also about the fact that a lot of times we demonize people and talk so lowly of people that have been through things, but we don't think about how careful, or we don't think critically or carefully about how that could just as easily be us and our stories. And I'm not saying or that I'm wishing this on anyone. I'm just saying with what I do, I see it all the time. The most powerful women, the most blessed people, men too, that will sit around for behaviors because they haven't been able to navigate their own. Which brings me to something else. Y'all, he the worst relationship guru because he also talked all about therapy. And I only know this because of all the clips floating out there. You should get therapy and you need to help yourself. But when his wife was trying to go through therapy, premarital counseling, telling her truth to him, even though she waited very long to do so, but he decided to move forward, he decided he didn't want to do therapy no more. So he also was talking to y'all about being the F-boy that don't want to go to therapy. This just blows my mind. And I can see why people are labeling this as a narcissist, but I'm just going to label it as quite an evil and calculated person who does not take accountability one bit. And so I truly pray that God deals with the heart of Derrick Jaxn however God sees fit. Okay, because I'm not gonna wish hell on nobody. I'm just saying you reap what you sow. And I feel like Danae Jackson did a very big justice by being able to present herself, talk the way she did, not have to down talk him, but while speaking of herself and being able to tell her story without demonizing the person who's already done all the demonizing. So with that said, I don't want this video to go on and on and on, but let me say, y'all, that kind of blew me away this week, and I took so many nuggets from it, the ones that I've mentioned to you all. But just be careful in these relationships, be careful with who you choose to be with, and also be careful with your mind, your heart, and your emotions. Something that I will tell you that even coming through my situations and being in a healthy and happy whole relationship and marriage now is that I've learned that it's okay to choose me. Choose you. If you don't choose you, you have nothing left to give anyone else. Nothing. And some people know when you already are on that last leg of who you are, and they will treat you with honey until the honey turns into poop. Okay, and they'll keep you any way they can just because you feel that you have won the lottery by being around them. But let me tell you, you have to be very careful about that in any relationship, and you don't have to take anything from anybody. Okay, so yeah, y'all, I hope y'all learned a lot from this, and I just wanted to discuss this and get the discussion going. I know it's late in the game, but I want to hear from y'all. Make sure that you comment, share this video with someone who can use it, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Beautiful brown baby doll. Peace.